Hi Cubies, here's Alexandra, and welcome to another painting tutorial. This one should be a rather quick one. I was asked to make a painting tutorial about a Moria Goblin from Lord of the Rings, and, well, who am I to decline such an easy painting tutorial question? So, here we have the standard Moria Goblin with a bow. And the first thing we are going to do is dust off all the dust that is collected. Okay, step one done. And then we will prime it with black. Just normal Chaos Black spray primer. I'll be back when he's dry. Okay, Tubies, there we have now the primed version of the Goblin. Well, the armor of the Moria Goblins is supposed to be black with scratches of metal, and that we want to mimic now. So at first we take our iron breaker here, or bolt gun metal, well, simply a normal metal color. You have darker metal color. And then you load up your brush with the metal paint and wipe it slightly off on a paper towel so that it is not overloaded. And what we do now, let's zoom in. So we will very gently go over the armor, over the edges, just like that. It don't have to be very perfect, just here and there, a few scratches of metal, and the armor is already done. That's how the Moria Goblins are supposed to look like. So, like this. We hear a little. So the bow is supposed to be wooden, so let's leave it like that. Okie dokie. The armor part is already done. Sounds quick, but it is so. So now the skin. For the skin I use here foundation paint from Games Workshop, Gretchen Green. So also quite easy, just simply paint all the skin parts of the miniature in this color. Well, like I said, this tutorial will be rather quick, and we don't want to paint those Moria Goblins super fancy and super awesome, because let's face it, if you are painting Moria Goblins, you will paint between 50 and 100 or even 200 of them, and you don't want to spend more than maybe 5 minutes on each one of them. So I will finish now all the skin tone in this green and be right back. Okay, that was the skin part of the miniature. Now we follow with the clothing. The clothes are painted in red, so we use corn red for this. Also quite easy, just you take a little bit on the palette. And then paint this little loincloth that is hanging down here. Trust me, there is not much to paint on this goblin, so this goes rather quick from the hand. Oops, sorry, out of focus. And don't worry if you don't have the exact colors that I am using. You could always switch them out by different versions. So So if you don't have this foundation color here, Gretchen Green, you could also use, for example, Vallejo model color olive green, or maybe good old goblin green, or maybe deep green. It doesn't matter really what you use. And for the red, you don't need to have corn red. You could also use, for example, flat red from Vallejo model color, or Vallejo extra opaque heavy red. It doesn't really matter. So I will quickly finish all the rest of the clothing and be right back. Okie dokie, the red parts are done. Now we take a step at the bow. We use now here this Rhinox hide. Also a little bit on the palette. And then, oops, we quickly paint the bow. Dum, dum, dum. And then this goblin is almost finished. So to give it a little bit more three-dimensionality and a little bit more shading, we will hit the miniature now with a wash. And for that we use Argrax Earthshade. Just simply go over it. That also gives the metal parts a slightly rusted feel to it. It shades the skin. It gives shadows to the red parts. And there we go. The goblin just needs one additional touch. The eyes. And that I will do when the wash is dry. Be right back. Okie dokie. The wash is dry. And now we paint the eyes. I use Outlet Sunset for that. Just take a tiny amount on the tip of your brush. Then paint eye number 1 and eye number 2. Just like that. So, now we give them pupils, and for that we use standard good old black. So, same here. Take a tiny amount on your brush, adjust it a little bit on your palette or a paper towel. And then carefully make a tiny little dot. Like that. So, for gaming purposes, this miniature is painting-wise complete now. For those of you that have followed my tutorials, you could totally start to highlight this miniature or work out even more details, but let's face it, this is a mass model and you will have hundreds of those, and this is absolutely enough for painting those Moria Goblins. So we'll quickly finish the miniature now with creating a base. So we will take some white glue like usual with an old brush, paint the base with it. So for the holes, just take a little bit bigger blob, and there we go. The hole is covered. Same here. Right. So then you take your sand, go through it, and there we go. Clean out the brush you have used carefully, because if white glue dries on your brush, you have a hard time to get them workable again. So where's my holder? There. Place it back on. Now we will hit it with a wash. For a goblin like that, they are supposed to be in a cavern, or well, in Moria itself, and we'll make now a black and grey base. And for that I use a Null Oil shade, black wash, and simply hit the sand with it carefully, because the white glue is still wet, but that doesn't bother us. Just be careful, gently touching. So, and that also needs to dry now. Well, normally you will paint at least 10 of them at the same time, and this will save you some time. So don't paint one miniature, let that dry, wait, and so on. So make it in a row of 10, and that keeps you time. I'll be back in a second. So tubies, the base is dry now, and now it's time to give it a quick dry brush. I start with Ashing Grey. Just pick some on your brush. Like always, adjust the paint on your brush on a paper towel, and then quickly go over it. Okay, and for the second layer, I highlight the color now with Oath One Grey. Just mix in some, like that. Gently dry brushing. And, well, I guess that's okay. So we could make a third layer with even brighter gray. A little bit here and there. Yeah, that looks good. Just some random spots. Okay, the base corner we will paint now also in grey. I will use again Ashing Grey for that. Just simply paint the edge of the base. The first layer never coats 100%, so leave it to dry now, and then a little bit, and then go over it a second time like I do right now with very gently strokes. And that way you get a nice even coat on the edge of the base. And there we go. That is now our finished Moria Goblin. I hope you liked this little tutorial, and we see us in the next video. Your Alexandra.